30th, 2018 Bellefonte Nuclear Plant. Announcement, Nuclear Development LLC and TVA. Gary Morgan, RFI Blog Spot in the borough.
We're going to go ahead and get started now. My name is McCollum, and we start every meeting gathering here with a quick safety briefing. So let me just let you know that, first of all, be cautious as you move about the auditorium. Watch your step. And if there's any need to evacuate this area, what you'll do is leave here, go out the way you came in, out to the parking lot, or if that route's not available, out these doors in the back this direction, turn left and go out to the parking lot. We'll assemble there in case of any sort of emergency. So again, welcome for the Bellefonte briefing this morning. I'm going to turn it over to Shelia.
Good morning. I'm Shelia, Shepard in Jackson County Economic Development. We'd like to thank you all for coming out today for this briefing and update and progress report on the Bellefonte Nuclear Project. We very much appreciate your attendance for being here today and showing your interest. To go back, in November of 2016, nuclear development bought this plant here at public auction in Tennessee, Bellefonte. This was a partially finished plant, and they announced at that point that they were going to complete 2 units at this plant. Can't hear me? I'm sorry. So they made a plan and decided to go ahead and assemble a team to build and operate this plant. This announcement was basically a dream come true for many people. But as we know, dreams don't always become a reality overnight. This is a huge project, and much work has been done since that day in November of 2016. So today we're here to offer you an update and a progress report on what has happened. This project is real. It is a real economic development project. The impact on our county and our region will be unprecedented. It will be a game-changing economic development project for our area. It will bring thousands of jobs to our region, both in construction over several years and permanent jobs here, with paying jobs for our community. And it doesn't just impact Jackson County, it impacts the whole region, Alabama, Tennessee, Georgia, and it will be a great boon for all of our area. From the start, this project has come where it is today by teamwork, and people are still working together because teamwork is going to carry us forward. And this is regional teamwork. It's not, again, not just local. During this time, nuclear development has accomplished several things. They've assembled an investment team. They have developed a business plan. They have obtained nuclear production tax credits. And they are here today with their industry partners to talk to you and tell you about how they're going to work together to make this project move forward. A part of this team that we've had all along is our North Alabama Congressman. He has stood by us in this whole event. He has worked with members of Congress from Alabama, Tennessee, and Georgia to make sure that this project has had the same advantages as other nuclear projects being built around the country. He and his staff have constantly been available to us as we discuss the challenges of moving ahead and making this project become a reality. So we thank you and your staff, Congressman, for what all you've done. And the Congressman will share a few words with us.
All these microphones make it tough. Get your notes on. Well, thank you for the opportunity to be here representing the Tennessee Valley and the United States Congress. By way of background, I have some of my staff here that have put in countless hours. So let me introduce some of them. We have Kathy Murray Briscat. Kathy back here, she's a field rep in my office for Jackson County. I have Clay Mills here, who's the communication side of things in Washington. We have Mark Pettit, who's my chief of staff. Where's Mark? Mark spent a significant amount of time on this particular project. And then we also have Marshall Yates. Where's Marshall? Marshall is an attorney in our office in Washington, D.C., who has spent countless hours on this project. And then we have Tiffany Knoll, who is our district director. Anytime you're talking nuclear power in the federal government, there are lots of hurdles that you have to clear in order for a potential project to become a reality. Now, I'm not going to say that we're to the end of the line of hurdles, but in my judgment, we have cleared most of them. And the few that remain look like we're going to clear them too. And we'll see how that plays out, because there's always a possibility of something at the federal government level gumming up the works. But I will say that to date, I am very pleased with the progress that has been made. Now, let me go a little bit further back in history. I grew up in the Tennessee Valley. I used to fish over here on Lake Guntersville, from Scottsboro, Hollywood, down to Guntersville itself. And I would, on the northern end of that section, do a lot of fishing, and I'd see those twin towers sitting there back in the 1970s when they were first constructed. And I always wondered when they're going to be completed. And as you look at this section of the Tennessee Valley, from Guntersville to the Tennessee line, this, of course, has become a huge landmark. Unfortunately, though, it has not been the kind of landmark that you necessarily want, because every time you see it, you think of the billions upon billions of dollars that have been spent getting this facility to where it is, yet there not having been a single watt of electricity generated. That's not necessarily the way you want your money spent at the federal government level. Notwithstanding that, though, it looks like with the help of Franklin Haney, the Haney family, all these folks up here, and I couldn't help but notice that there are a good number of them from the Tennessee Valley, like familiar names, Teledyne Brown, Lockheed, Wiley, GE, and we've got a lot of newcomers too to the Tennessee Valley. We want to welcome them here as they participate in this project once we get to the final dotting of every I and crossing of every T. But I am so pleased that TVA made the decision to transfer this to the private sector, where the optimism that we're going to get it completed is much greater than it has been. Now, what does that mean if we get it completed? Let me talk nationally first. If this facility is built and completed, and we have high hopes that it will be, when it comes online, that is a significant contribution to America's power generation capability. All too often, we take electricity for granted. Y'all remember the tornadoes in 2011? What happens when suddenly your electrical source is cut off? You've got some parts of the country right now who, over decades of bad public policy, have suppressed electrical power generation capabilities, with the net result being that when they have unusually hot or unusually cold weather, there's a real issue as to whether their systems are going to be able to handle that kind of load. With Bellefonte coming online in 2022, 23, 24, 25, whatever the time frame may be, that's going to provide energy security for the Tennessee Valley, North Alabama, and surrounding states that we otherwise would not have. So that's the global picture. From a Jackson County and Tennessee Valley picture, though, let me emphasize some of the economic aspects of this that should be noted, underscored, italicized, in bold. First, and someone, if you've got a project that's bigger than this, please let me know. But I cannot think of a private industrial project in the state of Alabama history that approximates the roughly $11 to $12 billion that will be invested in capital improvements in this facility to get it up and going. Now, maybe there's a bigger one in the state of Alabama history from the private sector, but if so, I cannot name it. That tells you the magnitude of this kind of project. The money that's going to be flowing into the Tennessee Valley for the construction workers, for the people, the businesses in the Tennessee Valley that produce various aspects of the material that's going to be incorporated into this plant, and the kind of assets that are going to be transferred into the state of Alabama and built elsewhere. That's huge on the construction side. From a tax standpoint, going to the University of Alabama economic study on this, it says, quote,
generates $2.4 billion in workers' state and local taxes on income, sales, and property. $2.4 billion. That's a lot of money. On the plant side of it, that was the worker side of it. On the plant side of it, we'll raise an estimated $6.6 billion in tax revenues during the operation phase, which is many, many decades, let's be clear, from sources such as the utility gross receipts tax, the utility license tax, state property tax, local property tax, and so on. So this is a huge long-term economic boom for Jackson County, the Tennessee Valley, and the state of Alabama, just from a revenue standpoint. Last time I checked, and I've talked to some people in this community, mayors, city councilmen, county commissioners, state legislators, cities, counties, and states can all use that money, and they can put it to good purpose. On an annual basis, quote, in a typical full year of operation, the plant will employ 1,040 full-time workers with an average salary of $136,000 and create an additional 3,136 indirect jobs paying $52,000. Now think about that and the addition that is to a community when suddenly each year, on average, you've got 1,000 different households having an income of roughly $136,000 per year, and how that can add to the wealth of a community. It can improve your roads, it can improve your schools, it can improve your health care. The list of things that money can be used for. With the wealth generated by this facility and those kind of people is as endless as the ability of our city, county, state officials thinking about the improvements they can make. So that's the kind of impact that Bellefonte, once completed, can bring to our city, our county, our region, and our state. And it's that kind of economic impact that has caused me to be 100% on board, doing everything I possibly can so that we can have clean energy produced. And when I talk about clean, you can compare it to any other kind of energy. And nuclear power in the United States of America has one of the best, if not the best, environmental records and safety records of any competing source of electricity power generation. Now, I'm not on wood and hope that remains the case, but certainly that has been the case in the United States of America from the beginning of our nuclear power generation to the current day. So with that, I'll turn it back to our MC. Thank you so much for being here, and let's cross our fingers and hope that we can dot the rest of those I's and cross the rest of those T's and get construction underway.
On June the 7th, SNC Lavalin was announced that they would undertake the engineering and construction to finish this project, beginning with one of the units here, one of the two that are here. SNC Lavalin has a proven track record of success. They have completed power plants on 4 continents. They have also, as well as reactor life extensions in Canada, South Korea, and Argentina. Today, I would like for you to meet and hear from Preston Swafford. He is the Chief Nuclear Officer at SNC Lavalin. He previously headed TVA's nuclear program, and he will brief you about the progress and where we are today.
Thank you. Welcome. Awfully glad to have you all here today. I'm going to say it's the first day of a long journey to bring prosperity back to Jackson County, and hopefully to bring and finish a job that started years ago. But we, like I said, we at SNC Lavalin were chosen to come in what we call an EPCM, or essentially the management firm, to finish this project. We have substantial experience in nuclear new build. Our company built the heavy water reactors, a little bit different technology, but similar in all aspects of how you build nuclear power plants. So we're We're also a large project management company, like the Floors and Beckles and others. We have a global footprint. We're over 50,000 people strong. We build mega projects around the globe. Not just nuclear projects, all infrastructure type projects, oil and gas, mining and metallurgy. So all of the different attributes that go into a new build like this, our company is quite versed in doing. So we, I'm going to say, quite some time ago, approached the Haneys and talked to them about this project. And I think one of the things that was important was the strategy we came to have the discussion with them about. Because for this project to be successful, it is critically important of the strategy to implement. Because I'm quite sure many of you here today are sitting there wondering, well, this has been tried before. What is new? What is unique? Why do you think you can do it this time? Well, you got to understand that this project was 95% done at one time. There was nuclear fuel on site here getting ready to be loaded into the reactor. And as we looked at it, it became paramount that you build the plant the way it was designed. If we start into a research project, we can open up all kinds of things that I'm going to say delay the success of this project. So we have to move smoothly. We have to implement what was already approved and designed. But we also recognize the technology move forward in certain areas. So there's roughly, I'm going to guess, 20% of this plant is going to need updating, bring to current standards, do the things necessary for post-Fukushima events and things like that the whole industry has taken on and will be required to do the same. That's all factored in. But this plant was maintained for many, many years in an excellent position for a new build as it sat kind of in the delay period to final construction. There was a period where, all of you know, that they opened it up for parting out some of the equipment. But the strategy we're going to deploy is going to be one where our vendors, and most of them are here today, and we really appreciate them coming out to support this project back here in the wall. They all recognize that they're going to have opportunities to come in and walk these systems down and essentially replace the components that were removed or replaced and to put it back into original condition. They have the expertise. Many of them work right here in the state of Alabama with their own companies. So part of our charter is to really look at the resources locally that can come to bear to make sure this project happens. So a big part of this is an approach. So we kind of call it best athlete approach. S&C Lavalin has full capabilities to do literally everything. The bottom line is we can't do everything. We can't even do a fraction, right? In that our job is to manage this thing, and where we bring expertise, we will competitively bid those components against many of you in the room to bring the best price with the highest probability of execution. This is different than some of the projects going on right now, whether it's South Carolina or in Georgia. Those projects are brand new, first of a kind. They're starting from the ground up. A lot of unknowns. Designs weren't really even fully complete, and so they've had to work around issues. Our strategy is finish the design, issue the design for a fixed price to multiple players to get the best price to come in and let them have reign to execute and install it back to the original design. It'll work for this plant because the regulators have already reviewed this in detail. They have years of experience with this plant. Our job is to give them what they've already approved, such that the probability of executing is enhanced that much more. So a big part of the strategy is our licensing approach. We will utilize ex-regulators. We will utilize key players that were around not just in the 70s, but throughout the activities. As many of you know, TVA from 09 to 13 spent substantial resources here updating designs, understanding the as-left condition, and understanding the condition of the facility after some of it was parted out. So we will inherit all that. We've spent several months on site working with Marie Gilman here, who works for me, looking at all of this type of data to be able to assess how can we reconstruct the facility. And we've come up with a plan that we believe is highly likely to be successful. So I know in today's words around new nuclear, it's scary, it's a project that's had its fits and starts and stops, and it's a little bit daunting, but trust me, this is just a plan, all right? It's a machine that It's been put together, and once we'll go put it together again, and then one day we'll pull rods and it'll go critical and we'll put generation out on the grid. So it's important that people leave today understanding that the approach is substantially different than a brand new build coming up because of the fact that it was almost completely finished back years ago. That matters a great deal as you're talking to your constituents, as you're talking to the public. It's important that the thing with Bellefonte is it was 95% done at one point in time, almost ready to go. And if we can successfully put it back to that state, yet take advantage of upgrades and new designs that will make it more safe from post-Fukushima and other Gen 3 type of attributes to a design, that does nothing but go to the bottom line of safety, bottom line of completion of the project, and then prosperity. Like was mentioned by our Congressman, right? Number of jobs, somewhere between 8,000 and 10,000, both direct and indirect during construction. And then steady state, there'll be between 1,100 and 1,600 employees full-time here, but there's almost 4,100 in total that'll be affected from communities, suppliers, because these plants require parts, they require maintenance, they require refuel outages, all of these things are jobs, and many of them are local. So this is a big factor in bringing this plant, is the economic boost it brings to the local communities here. So I think it's important that we all are able to leave today recognizing the boost of this. The other thing too is that not to get too technical, the amount we think to be fixed price. And I know this is a little mumbo jumbo many times, but we think between 70 and 80% of this facility can be fixed price. Now what does that really mean? Another term is lump sum. But the vendors that are in here today will go in and they will walk down this facility. They will bid on certain systems to completely restore to original design. They'll have full access to walk the systems down and understand which components are missing, what things they have to tear apart and inspect and then put back together, and what the costs are going to be to do that. That's relatively quantifiable. That's not a lot of unknown. It's just a little bit of work in the detailed walk-down activities. Well, by getting lump sum or fixed price, they put skin in the game with us. So in that case, nearly 70-80% of this project, we're going to have our vendors with real skin in the game to complete it at their cost. That's how innovation starts. They come in, they start looking at this thing, and they start having ideas of how to approach it. Where if you're kind of a pure utility doing it in the T&M space, right, sometimes you hate to say it, but it almost behooves you not to necessarily bring innovation to the table. So part of the design of this program is to get our partners, which will be the best athletes, in here to execute this at a fixed price. And those things that are going to be T&M or time and material, roughly about 20% of the project or 30%. That there is because of the changes since this plant was originally licensed. Right? There's been regulatory upgrades and changes, new things you have to do, and the ability to anticipate impact of those changes in designs and regulations, how it impacts other types of systems and components, is very difficult to fully understand until you get into the details. So that part of it is the part that we will have some risk to bringing home, but it's nowhere near a brand new first of a kind up from ground level start risk. So it's the apple and the grapefruit. They're not the same at all, and we believe very manageable. And the funding and whatnot for the project is ample. Right? It's substantial. The estimates that TVA put together, the estimates that two different outside firms other than ours have provided to the project, that is fully covered with nearly twice that amount in contingency. So the ability within the guise of the plan we put together now to actually pull this off is highly probable. Another thing I try to communicate is the type of project, what's it closest to? If you're going to stand up here and say it's not close to a Vogel or a BC Summer, well, what is it close to? Well, in a way, it's kind of close to Browns Ferry Unit 1. Browns Ferry Unit 1 was a plant that was idle for 20 some odd years, and the utility decided, TVA, that we're going to go ahead and rejuvenate that plant. Well, every system had to be walked down. Everything had to be taken apart. They had to evaluate material condition of each and every component. And then from there, they were able to derive a team where they kind of had a primary set of suppliers, and then they did a secondary backup set of suppliers, such that if resources were short or scarce on one, they had a backup supplier right in the wing, part of the team, versed on how the project's gone, and they were able to step in and provide that needed resource and needed competencies to be backed up to the primary. That's almost the best athlete approach as well. So what you end up in is projects or components of it aren't stymied because you don't have the proper resource ready to go. And I think by all accounts, Browns Ferry Unit 1 was a successful refurb. And I know there's a couple of issues which I know as the old CNO, I battled a few of them for quite a few years. But nonetheless, we kept the plants running, and I believe those 3 units right now are 93% capacity. So the work done, the material condition there was strong. That Unit 1 is added jobs, added energy to the valley, and that's what Bellefonte is. Bellefonte can be treated the same way. We're going to reconstruct the plant that was almost completely designed with a few upgrades, and because of that, we should not be challenged in regulatory space to the large degree, because we're essentially building a plant that was already approved. So those are kind of the high-level concepts of approach, and just wanted you to know that leaving here today, this project can be done. We've looked at it, we've got the detailed competency to make that type of assessment. There is a huge commitment to do it, and with a little bit of support and luck from people in the room, as well as the politicians in Washington and here in Alabama and local states and counties, we can get the push, to get the final concurrence, to get the funding to support this project and bring it across the line. And if you do, and as people you're talking to, you got to be able to convince them as well that this is a real project. It's no longer in the infancy stage. It's about ready to take the next big step of a full-blown project with all the appropriate leadership, oversight, management skills, things that Bill Fox, that replacing me from the Canada side, will come in and be able to put in place and manage this whole thing. Such a full force and skill of S&C Lavalin has brought to bear. So I'll be staying with the project. This is important and important personally to me. And to get a second chance to come back into the valley and make a difference for nuclear power is something that I think will be part of me for here on. So anyway, I won't take any of your time. Thank you very much.
Talking? Yeah,
We'll
looking.
get you
guys after this.
All right, y'all ready?
We're ready.
Just go ahead and say and spell your first and last name and tell us who you're with.
Hey, I'm Bud Cramer. I represent nuclear development. I was a member of Congress representing the 5th Congressional District of Alabama, a predecessor to Congressman Mo Brooks, who was here at the Bellefonte plant. Briefly, during my career as a congressman, we were very concerned that this almost completed set of nuclear units here at Bellefonte had never been finished, had substantial money invested in this facility, but then because of budget pressures, the project was abandoned for years and years and years. So I joined with the congressional delegation trying to make sure that TVA had the opportunity to complete it, or that some investor had the chance to complete it. Obviously here today we're celebrating the next big chapter of involvement by the investor, and that's nuclear development that bought this plant from TVA, this 1,300 acres and 2 nuclear units that we're now in the shadows of here. The public auction almost 2 years ago, with the proposed plan completing it as a nuclear facility as well. So today you heard from S&C Lavalin and their industry partners. S&C Lavalin has been hired as the EPC contractor, a significant new development. And you can see the list of subs. Some have already announced their involvement, but a lot of Alabama companies as well. Teledyne Brown, Lockheed, Wiley Labs, Turner Construction, GE as well. So huge regional impact. We've known for years that if this project were completed, it'd be up to 10,000 construction jobs. They're not your routine construction jobs either. This is an NRC licensed plant. TVA has maintained the license on this plant, so a lot of activity in the plant had to be done and refigured by the NRC for TVA to have that license. Any person now employed to finish construction at the plant will have to be NRC licensed construction folks. So they're very good paying jobs, and it's going to take years to complete this facility. So on behalf of nuclear development, we're just proud that the industry could come here and announce what their plans are at this facility.
Okay, what we'd like to know is how well is it going from the investor standpoint, and they still have some things to do to actually own and close the property, is that right?
Yeah, it's been a process from the date of the auction forward, with a closing date coming up in November of this year. Nuclear Development has had to put their business plan together. They've gone through a DOE process for reviewing the progress here through the loan guarantee program. A lot of due diligence done there. That's not my area of expertise, but they've been scrutinized by that entire process. A few more hurdles along the way. They feel that they will meet those and make those hurdles. And obviously the industry would not be putting their skin in the game if they didn't think this was a viable project and a project that they want to be part of. The advantage here at Bellefonte is that these facilities were anywhere from 50 to 80% complete already. Now that was many years ago. So because it's been an NRC licensed facility, updates have been made. But to finish it out will take some further construction, but you're not building from the ground up. As with other nuclear projects in the country. That's very time-consuming, that's very challenging from an engineering, design point of view. Some of those projects have gotten into trouble because of that. But nuclear development wants to invest in this facility to look after clean energy for years to come and look after the power needs of this entire area of the country.
When is the ETA or hopeful ETA for when this might be up and running?
Well, it would be, many speculate, around 5 years. And that's part of what DOE is reviewing, is the construction schedule for finishing this out. Of course, during those 5 years, that's when thousands of people will be hired. Permanent jobs, once it's complete, will be in the range of 1,100 people eventually as well. You heard from the briefing this morning the salary ranges, but the schedule for activity that SNC Lavalin hopes to achieve will start in November of the very year we're in, but then it projects into next year and the next year and the next year as well.
So how can people apply for these jobs?
Well, it's too soon to really think about applying for jobs, and we'll have to wait and see what SNC's schedule is, who all of their subcontractors are. You've got control room folks, you've got equipment managers as well. All of those. Eventually, for the thousands of people that will be here, you've got other services, food services, and those kind. We are having a lot of inquiries about what's the schedule for job hiring. We're a few steps away from that right now.
A couple of different numbers have been thrown around. Do you have an estimate for you of how many jobs this will bring? Because I've seen a couple,
Well, listen carefully, because construction jobs, we had a University of Alabama economics study done that attempts to evaluate for the benefit of the state of Alabama, like with a Toyota Mazda project or any other big industry opportunity. They evaluate the number of jobs, the impact on the economy. They looked at this project anywhere from 6,500 direct construction jobs, adding another approximately 3,500 indirect construction jobs, and you come up with a figure of around 10,000. Now, some of those are estimates. I mean, there will be an effort to save as much money as possible and to accelerate that project. Depending on the number of shifts that you offer here, is this a one-shift building project to finish this out, or do you run 2 shifts trying to get it done quicker? So there's some variables there. And then eventually the around 1,300 to 1,700 permanent jobs that will be here.
Is the DOE grant still at the $5 billion level?
It is approximately that level. That, I would refer you to other folks for details about that. The commitment that DOE will make, which is not finalized yet, will depend on Unit 1 first and then Unit 2 second. but we expect it to be in the $5 billion range.
Thank you.
That's to complete this project.
That's DOE's loan guarantee, yes. And then, of course, the Haney's, through nuclear development, have their own investment in this as well.
How would you describe the economic impact that this is going to have on this area in particular?
Game changer, and you heard those words used by the people here today. When you look at numbers of jobs and economic impact, you look at the University of Alabama study, you evaluate that against, we're not competitive with other projects, but you look at other projects that have been announced with thousands of jobs as well. This is bigger than that. I know when I was motivated as a member of Congress to ask TVA, what are your plans here? We keep sitting on this project. If you're not able to finish this project, let someone finish the project. Let some investor group come in here or look at alternate uses for this 1,300 valuable acres here that are around this plant. We knew then that for Jackson County's benefit, and look where Jackson County is. It's in the northeast corner of Alabama. The state of Tennessee is just a few miles up the road. Many of the employees that have worked here during the years when their workforce was several hundred people, probably about half of those live on the Tennessee side of this region rather than the Alabama side of this region. So your question about economic impact is huge for the region.
Now, didn't you say you were with nuclear development? That's who you're working for?
Yes, I do work for
Okay.
nuclear development.
Has there been any foreign investment into nuclear development?
No.
You know, there was some
Yes.
press earlier, I think,
Yes.
first part of last month, that Qatar
Yes.
was involved. Is that?
They are not involved with that.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Real quick, what's the absolute next step going forward?
Well, we will need to wait on the final stages of the DOE loan guarantee. We'll need to finish our negotiations with the state of Alabama over state incentives. We'll need to let S&C Lavalin, they will continue to perfect contracts with the subs, that some of whom were identified. Some have been hired already or contracted for already. And I think Preston from S&C went over the approach is that many of those companies will have skin in the game. They will have investment that they will make here as well.
Would you anticipate those things would be completed by the time they get ready to close in November?
I don't think you could have all of that realistically complete. Here we are at almost August 1 by November, but I think substantial progress has been made. And so I think the November, you won't have to have all of that completed by November, but you'll need to understand what your progress is by November. Thank you.
Good deal, thank you.